to, type away whatever you want to include in that box, and simply say save. And it'll automatically then put that in your document. Okay? So in this situation, I added an objective line, which is not usually the last line on your resume. Usually it's toward the top. So how do I get that up to the top? Anybody have a guess on the words I'm going to say? Look to the right, look to the right, look to the right. Over here, reorder. Everything is over on that toolbar. So here I have objective, and you just click and drag. I want to move it to the top. Okay? Again, I think you'll find that the system is very, very user-friendly. All right, so let's talk for just a minute. Let me click on employment. Employment history, when you click on it in the document, it will pop up this box that's asking for the key information about a job. Again, it keeps you from having to just type out a line. The other thing that's really important about employment history being formatted in this way is that when you change the format of your resume, it'll keep all those indents and things all in the right places, okay? So when you have an opportunity to use the boxes that are here, please use them. Don't just start from an empty box within the section, okay? Once you have one employer listed here, so I'm going to scroll down here and say save this. If you have another job, so there's one of them, but I need another one. Look to the right, look to the right, look to the right. Over here under employment, you see add or delete employer. So I need to add another employer. Most of you will need to do this. And if you keep clicking in the document, if you are like me, it drove me bonkers. I was like, I need to add another one. It shouldn't be this hard. Everybody's had more than one job. Forgot to look to the right. So always look to the right, and then you can add another one. Again, it takes you through the same kind of fields and boxes so that the format stays the same. Okay? All right. Now, any questions so far? I want to show you the feature of being able to change the style of your resume. So you can see this style, how the font that it's using, it's got everything over to the left, it's got the bar along the top, things like that. This is a template. Now you don't have to use a template. You can go in and decide for yourself what fonts and things like that. But before you go through that hassle, I encourage you to click on this Style Resume button that's in the top part of that Look to the Right toolbar. Within the Style Resume, you'll see they have a number of templates. Try them all. It doesn't hurt. Just click on them. You can easily undo. So I'm going to go to this Curry and apply. Close it out, and now look at my resume. My name is highlighted a little bit more. The heading looks a little different. Still uses a lot of the similar things down below. My sections won't change. You've defined your sections. It's not going to change that based on this styling. It's just going to change things like format, font, that type of thing. But I like the fact that my name is centered because I want to be sure they know my name, that they're not missing that, or that they have to search for it. But maybe you want to try something else. Again, go through all these. It's very, very easy to try these out and to undo it. There's a different look, different fonts, things like that. But again, you see, like with employment history, it kept the right kind of format. It indented it in the right way for this particular format. Okay? Again, you can very easily go in and change specific parts like the header. You can do all of this manually if you want to, use of bullets, what they look like, things like that. So if you don't find a template that you like, you can go in and customize yourself. But I'd encourage you to use the template because, again, it's so simple to keep the formatting proper and things like that. Okay? If you ever really messed up and you want to go back to something that you've done before, you can hit that. What I hit was the Show History. That'll show you what it was like before you made your last change. Okay? Okay. Down here, let's see, resume tips, all these tools, tips, samples, video tutorials, section instructions, section examples, action verbs. So let's say you're trying to type up one of those statements and you're going blank on how to use a fancy word. Just click over to these action words. It's got them categorized, all sorts of different words that are in here, okay? So don't give yourself a headache. There are a lot of tools that are embedded in this program that will make resume writing a lot easier. So just take advantage of them, okay? Any questions? All right, let me real quick go back to, I hope, the PowerPoint. Here we go. Because you have an assignment. You were waiting for this part, weren't you? All right, so here's your assignment. Create your own resume using Optimal Resume. Okay? The deadline is this Friday. Now, again, I'll be back here this Wednesday and this Friday. This Wednesday, we'll talk about resume tips, resume blunders, resume pitfalls, those kinds of things. So we'll cover some of those kinds of things in Wednesday's class. So you could totally procrastinate and say, okay, the resume's not due until Friday. I'm going to start working on it 10 p.m. on Thursday. But I would encourage you, to go ahead and do at least a rough draft. Sometime before Wednesday's class, do a rough draft. Don't feel like you have to perfect it, but get in Optimal Resume and at least do a basic one. Even if where you were putting words, you just put junk just to fill the space for now, okay? 2 reasons to do that. Number 1, it lets you try Optimal Resume, so when you come back to class on Wednesday, if there's any hiccups that you've experienced, we can talk about it when I see you on Wednesday, okay? The second thing is, when we talk about resume tips, blunders, pitfalls on Wednesday, I want you to have already kind of started thinking about your specific resume when we talk about those things. Think about your background. Think about different things that you want to be sure you include. Think about ways or things you're not sure how to include it without it being a negative. You want to be sure it's a positive, all that kind of stuff. If you start with a rough draft before Wednesday's class, you'll have that in your mind already. It'll help us go through those things a little bit more effectively on Wednesday. Okay, yeah?
Can you have a style like Vita?
There are some, it depends, you know how I started with a management resume. There are some on there that are a little bit different format. But if not, you can change the format for yours.
Sometimes those of you that will go on into academics or even for a master's degree, they might ask you for a Vita, which is just a different form of resume, but it's an academic resume. So you show what classes you took,
publications, all sorts of stuff like that.
What organizations you can have that in the other one too.
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind as you draft your resume, probably for most of you as are soon-to-be graduates, a 1-page resume is probably sufficient. So don't feel like you have to fill 2 pages worth, okay? All right, thanks. I'll see you Wednesday.
You can do it. Yay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.